Fadl.
My initials FA from Houston, Texas. Assalamu alaikum, Sensei. Is it permissible to fast the day of Arafah if it lands on a Saturday?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wasalam ala rasulillah. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah bless you, akhi. It is permissible to fast the day of Arafah if it falls on a Saturday. We mentioned this last night. The hadith about fasting on a Saturday being prohibited is not authentic. I don't consider it to be authentic. As many other ulama said it's batil and munkar. And there's some scholars who hold the view that it is hasan, such as Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah and others. The view that I adopt, and Allah knows best, is that a hadith is not authentic. And if it's not authentic, then it has no weight in light of the countless authentic hadiths about fasting 3 days, a day before Friday, day after Friday, etc. Wallahu alam. Fadl.
Due to the pushing and shoving the day of the Eid, the brothers want to slaughter, is it permissible to slaughter a day or two after that day, after the Eid?
Question comes from AS from Bed-Stuy, New York. You know what AS stands for, right? You sure? Or we need to mention it on tape? Okay, alhamdulillah. Is it due to the pushing and the shoving in the crowd, is it permissible to slaughter a day or two after the Eid? Yes, it is. It's permissible. On the second day, the third day, and some even say the fourth day. There's nothing wrong with that. And perhaps that's best to do because, one, the pushing and shoving, two, the prices, and thirdly, you're diversifying the sunnah. And which most people think and believe that it has to be what? On the Eid day. And whenever you diversify something, the rule is that it makes you more what? Conscious. You just keep doing it the same way, it's habit and routine. Wallahu alam. What's the ruling on these markers?
Sniffing them or?
Well, it's not just normal sniffing. It's not like sniffing glue. This is blueberry and apple. No, it's not that type of ball game. This is like itarud. There's the narration say about not refusing plebe, good smelling things. So a brother gave me these today. What's the ruling on these? Can you write with these while you're fasting and doing hijjah or what?
Yeah.
No, there's nothing wrong with it, huh?
No.
Right. Fadda.
What's the ruling on an animal that is like tagged for the like?
Clear. The ruling, I knew that was going to come up. An animal that's tagged. From one aspect, we say that it is included in kharaqa or tharma or sharqa. From one aspect, its ears, it's clipped, it's pinched, it's poked, or pierced. From another aspect, it's not something that's a aib. It's not like it's slit, it was cut or ripped or torn or bit. You understand? Let alone the fact that oftentimes it's a necessity. Due to the fact of certain illnesses and diseases and sicknesses, sometimes you don't have a choice. So if you can stay away from it, that's definitely best. Without getting sick. And Allah knows best.
Initials AK from Niagara Falls. Can I pray with my shoes on? What's the evidence?
Questions from Niagara Falls? Tell you. Question is, can I pray with my shoes on? What is the evidence? The answer, Jazakallahu khairan, is yes, you can pray with your shoes on. It's permissible. And the evidence is the hadith of Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu collected in a Sahih, that he was asked, أَكَانَ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ يُصَلِّي فِي نَعْلَيْهِ قَالَ نَعَمْ. Did the Prophet used to pray in his sandals? He said yes. And some of the scholars of Islam, such as At-Tahawi rahimahullah, the great Hanafi muhaddith, have mentioned there are so many, tawatarat al-akhbar. There's so many narrations that the Prophet prayed munta'ilan wa hafiyan, or hafiyan wa munta'ila. He prayed barefooted, and he also prayed with his sandals and shoes on. So there's no doubt there are authentic narrations about that. And alhamdulillah, from the not modern, but the later scholars / current day scholars who wrote books on that was Sheikh Muqbil rahimahullah ta'ala. He called his book Shar'iyyatu Salati Fin Ni'al. Shar'iyyatu Salati Fin Ni'al. The legality of prayer in shoes. Alhamdulillah, the book has been translated many years ago. That's what the book looks like. Wallahu alhamd. And alhamdulillah, khair. Al-Muhim, that's the translation of the book. If you want to read it, check it out. I'm sure you can find it online. Inshallah. And there are many, many authentic hadiths that the Prophet prayed in his shoes. Wallahu ta'ala alam. That's a brief discussion of it. I'm not sure if we've done videos on it or not. And if we haven't, maybe we need to do some, inshallah. Wallah, next question.
Initials NH from Toronto, Canada. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti. May Allah bless you with a long, healthy life so you can always answer our questions. Question says, does miswak has to be the actual miswak stick, or can we use the toothbrush?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah bless you. Jazakallah khairan for the dua. May Allah extend our lives upon His obedience. Ameen. And if it's best or if it's good for me to answer your questions with the limited knowledge that I have, then ameen to that. The miswak does not have to be the actual miswak that's sold outside of the Prophet's masjid or in this package. It doesn't have to be that. It could be a napkin. A napkin could be a miswak. All right? You can use anything, but that's a preferred miswak. And we've explained this many times before. Of course, the brushing your teeth with an actual toothbrush, carrying around a travel toothbrush and things like this, it's all miswak. Wallahu alam.
Versus AB from Brooklyn, New York. How should we consider the narration of paying the wages before the sweat dries in the modern age? Is it a recommended act or is it obligatory?
Question comes from brother AB from Brooklyn, New York. May Allah bless him and his family. How do we understand the narration of pay the worker before the sweat dries on the brow of his head in modern times? If that narration is authentic, then it is encouraging us to be upfront with our financial dealings and never ever to short people. And don't play don't play games when it comes to money. That's what meant by the hadith. Pay the worker on time, thoroughly, give him extra, so much so, what? Before his sweat dries. That's what's meant by that. And obviously, there are many brothers, unfortunately, they play around with your money. Inshallah, that's the first thing they say. When it comes to them paying you, they say what? Inshallah. It's reality. They abuse Islam. And they abuse these terms. Inshallah. And there's no intention of giving you your money. Huh? When it comes to you doing the work, it's, you must pay, you must do the work, brother. You're my worker. I pay, you're my worker. When it comes to him paying you, it's what? Allah Kareem. It's unfortunate and it's sad. And as if these people want you to act in a way in which what? They want to stereotype you. He's crazy. Huh? He jumped on me. He's hollering, acting like a hooligan. But you leave me what? No choice. You take my back, my sweat. You take time out of my children's lives, food from my mouth. How do you expect me to act? So it's unfortunate. So how would you like people to pay you? How would you like people to give you your money? Late? Short? Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't do well this month, but I'm going to give it to you later. Many brothers are like this. And they should reflect on that. Pay the worker before the sweat dries, meaning have the money up front. If it's payday on Friday, the money should be when? Thursday. It should be ready in the envelope. Full. Huh? Because treat people how you like what? To be treated. And no one likes to be short with their money. Nobody. وَلَا حَوْلَ وَلَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ أَعْلَمُ.
Next question. Initials K from Manchester, UK. Did Imam Muslim write his introduction first or write the hadith and narrations first? Which one preceded the other?
The Shuba. This is a mistake here in this book. I just opened it up. Page 38. It says chapter the Shuba. The type. Well, just leave that alone. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not a mistake. Perhaps he meant the plural. Yeah, it says it in the footnotes. That's not a mistake. Take that back. Type. Fadda. Repeat the question.
Question says, did Imam Muslim write his introduction first or write the hadith and narrations first? Which one preceded the other?
Where's it from?
Manchester, UK.
Question from Manchester. Did Imam Muslim write the introduction first or write the akhbar? Do the collection of hadith, then the introduction. Allahu alam. Allah knows best. Either of the two is possible. From one aspect, whenever a scholar writes an introduction to a book, you say he's only talking about something that he what? He did. That's why he's talking about it. But from another aspect, he wrote the introduction because everything he's going to talk about and how he wants to talk about is what? It's already in his head. So both are possible. I don't know the specific answer. Allahu alam.
Next question. Initials AA from Miami, Florida. Any advice for someone who practices Islam but cannot stop fantasizing about his haram acts from the past? May Allah reward you and your team immensely.
Where's it from again?
Miami, Florida.
Questions from Miami, Florida. This will be our last question tonight, inshallah. Do you have any advice for someone who's trying to practice Islam, but they cannot stop fantasizing about their haram acts that they performed in the past? May Allah bless you and keep you firm upon the straight path. Ameen. I will give the example mentioned by some scholars of a person who became very sick, very ill, a life-threatening illness that had you on your deathbed, had you in a coma, had you in a hospital for such a long time, so bad that the doctors gave up and lost hope. And the doctor said you only have a week to live, if that. A month to live, if that. Rather, we need to have a family meeting. All right? Everyone understand this? When you have a family meeting with the doctor, and there's no more, how are you, laughing and joking, and they tell you that your father is in a downward spiral. And there's nothing that we can do for him right now. And us giving him this surgery or putting this thing in his neck, and this is nothing but suffering. So what do you want us to do? If he dies, resuscitate him, pull the plug, he's brain dead, should we send him home to a hospice? You have to make that decision. There's no hope what we have in the hospital. And then you go home, or you go to the hospice, or you even leave the hospice. He says, let him die in his house. And miraculously, you wake up. Next thing you hear a glass fall on the ground. Person was waking up, reaching for a cup of water, and they run down the steps. SubhanAllah, Abby's alive. He's up. He's up. Give me some water. Give me some water. I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty. And then he gets better. He goes through therapy. And after 6 months, he reaches full strength and full health again. How would you react to thinking about that cancer that you had, or that car accident, or that gunshot wound? Would you laugh about it? Would you joke about it? Would you find pleasure in it? Would you find sweetness in it? Or would it make your body cringe and the hair on the back of your neck stand up and make you cry and pass out thinking about I was this close to death? As it was one sister, she said, I was so sick and so ill, I knew I was going to die. I wondered what the angel of death looked like. I was curious about what the angel of death looks like. That's serious. Would you laugh about that later on? Would you fantasize about that later on? So that is the example, and that's the similitude that the ulama of Islam mentioned with regards to Jahiliyyah. وَكُنْتُمْ عَلَى شَفَا حُفْرَةٍ مِّنَ النَّارِ فَأَنْقَذَكُم مِّنْهَا. Allah says, and you used to be upon the edge in the cliff of the fire of hell, and Allah saved you therefrom. Shaykh Sa'di rahimahullah, he says in the tafsir of this ayah, Yani, the only thing that was between you and eternal life in the hellfire was what? Death. That's it. That's scary. So how can you fantasize about that? What's funny? What's pleasurable about you being in that state? You making those haram acts. What if the angel of death took your soul smoking or drinking or fornicating or whatever else you're doing? Nothing about that should be a means of fantasizing. It doesn't mean that a person can't remember Jahiliyyah. It doesn't mean that a person can't talk about it. It doesn't mean that the good things and the permissible things from Jahiliyyah, a person can't say, you know, back in the day, I used to have this when it first came out. Remember the blue ones. Not the what? Not the black ones. The what? The blue ones. No one else had them. The Marvel, Everyone understand this? Oh, before I was a Muslim, I used to do this. I used to do that. Of good halal things, that's one thing. But fantasizing about this girlfriend and fantasizing about this haram money that you used to have stacked up, what? Enough bricks to build a fort, the poet said. You fantasizing about that, about killing people and shooting people. You fantasizing about riba. You fantasizing about going to this. What's fantasy about that? So that's the best advice I could possibly give you, is think about what state you would have been in if you had died. And Allah surely knows best. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu sallam wa barak ala abdihi wa rasulihi.